A workshop set to realize Ethiopia's green capital market through green bonds and carbon credits was held today. Ethiopian Capital Market Authority Deputy Director General Isaias Kasa said on the occasion that the workshop makes a pivotal step in the journey towards establishing Ethiopian green capital markets, particularly through the development of green bonds and carbon credits.
At COP29 recently, the UK reconfirmed its ambition to spend £11.6 billion in climate finance by 2026. We also saw a tripling of global climate finance commitments to $300 billion a year. The rulebook for carbon markets under Article 6 was finally agreed, giving a major boost to carbon markets. And the potential here for Ethiopia, I think, is huge. But the latest work by Lord Stern estimates that 2.4 trillion of climate finance will still be needed globally by 2035. So we're some way off the necessary trajectory, especially for Africa, where investment needs are estimated at nearly $300 billion a year, and echoes what Hikmet was saying about the challenge for Ethiopia too. In Ethiopia, the UK is already playing a role in attracting more climate finance. We co-chair the Climate Resilient Green Economy Forum, and under this, the Climate Finance Task Force. We're also supporting the government of Ethiopia to access more climate finance through our program with the Global Green Growth Institute, which has already improved Ethiopia's access to the Green Climate Fund and the Adaptation Fund. And it's also designing a legal framework for national carbon markets. But as capital markets take off in Ethiopia, and I really believe they will, they present a new universe of financing. And it's essential that we take this opportunity and steer their direction towards achieving green and inclusive development in Ethiopia.
This workshop makes a pivotal step in our shared journey toward establishing the Ethiopian green capital market, particularly through the development of green bonds and carbon credits. As highlighted in the scoping studies that will be presented today, Ethiopia stands at the critical crossroads. Our economy is already bearing the brunt of climate change, with annual loss estimated up to 1.5% of GDP, a figure projected to rise to 5% of GDP by 2040. Degraded land, recurring droughts, and other climate-related disruptions further emphasize the urgency of building resilience through innovative financial solutions. Despite these daunting figures, there is a significant opportunity ahead of us. Ethiopia has successfully mobilized billions of birr in climate financing in recent years. Ethiopia have also set an ambitious target to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 68.8% by 2030. Achieving this goal, as outlined in our nationally determined contribution, is estimated to mobilize a cumulative of billions of investments. To bridge this gap, the scoping study outlines a diverse array of promising green finance instruments, from thematic and impact bonds to carbon credits and blended financial mechanisms. Importantly, this also emphasizes the need for strong enabling environment, one that includes robust instrumental capacity, coherent policy frameworks, and vibrant public-private partnerships. These elements are essential to attract both domestic and international investments to a scale required. As we gather here today, it's important to remember that our responsibility goes beyond policy and finance. We are stewards of this land, not only for ourselves, but for the generations yet to come. Ethiopia, which is rich in natural heritage and cultural legacy, calls upon us to act not just as decision makers or investors, but as caretakers of nature. This is a sacred task, one that asks us to align our economic system with the rhythms of nature and long-term well-being of our communities. As the late Professor Wangarai Maathai so eloquently said, we are called to assist the earth to heal her wounds and in the process heal our own indeed, to embrace the whole creation in all its diversity, beauty, and wonder. Let us be inspired by these words. Today's discussion goes far beyond finance. It's about safeguarding Ethiopia's sustainable development. It's about aligning our economic strategies with climate resilience, creating incentive for innovation, and unlocking the full potential of our private sector to drive green growth. Let us seize this opportunity not just to exchange ideas, but to build actionable pathways, forge enduring partnerships, and drive collective progress towards greener, climate resilient, prosperous Ethiopia.
Before we delve into the whole green finance area, it's good to have some foundational concept of what it is. And again, also to acknowledge that there is no universal definition of green finance. However, we can understand it through the objectives that it aims to achieve, and this will be low carbon and resilient development, reducing financial risks that the ecosystem is exposed to, as well as steering economic development. And you can see here how the crossover between green, sustainability, and social. So we understand when you're talking about green finance, it also includes climate. Climate is always included within green finance, as well as anything that will be tagged blue or within the blue economy with the oceans and freshwater lakes, as well as nature in itself. So this is what green finance encompasses, as well as sustainability. So there is a relationship between these terms that are used, but then we also need to acknowledge that there's no universal definition for it, so it's most often defined by the objectives that it aims to achieve.